What's your name and where are you from?
Hi, I am Noemy. I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but originally from Puerto Rico.
Fantastic. And what's your connection to the bleeding disorder community? What brought you here?
So originally I was a sibling of, my brother has hemophilia A severe, and then eventually later in my 20s, I was diagnosed with hemophilia A mild myself.
Fantastic. And what could you give us a bit about your journey through diagnosis and how you sort of processed that and then the adjustments you had to make?
Yeah, so it's been quite a journey. As I said, being a sibling of, I was always in close proximity, but never fully, I was on the sidelines kind of. It was a lot of years of having symptoms like nosebleeds, gum bleeds, eventually very horrible menstrual cycles, to the point where I would have to miss school and sports, which was like my favorite thing to do. Then in university, when I finally got insured through my university, I started going to doctor's appointments. Even then, I found a lot of people who were telling me I was too young to be worried about this. I'm just stressed out. This is just normal. Don't worry about it. You're getting ahead of yourself. But I just knew there was something wrong with the knowledge I already had being a sibling of, right? And eventually I went to a women's retreat and I had a doctor who was an OBGYN, and she actually had a session titled Your Life Should Not Stop Once a Month, which was very much my reality and the reality of so many women and girls in our community and adjacent to our community and just even outside. And she made the exception to see me because she saw up to 21 years old. I was already 22. And when I went, she said, you know what, let's stop all the dilly-dallying, right? Like, let's just get you tested. And sure enough, she came back and was like, you have hemophilia. So my reaction was instantly like, wow, I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I was onto something. And so from there, I've just continued to advocate for the community, but also women and girls to be listened to be tested, to be believed, and to eventually be treated. Because if someone like me whose, family moved to the US for better opportunities, and, it's a developed country, and I had a family member with it, and I still had a delayed diagnosis, what's going on with other women and girls.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge advocate for not just making sure that we are going to our decision makers and talking about our stories, but also that we are testing the whole family as soon as we have one diagnosis.
And yeah, I think going through all the sessions at the conference, it's your story is a version of a story that we're hearing time and time again, and it's wonderful that there's such an opportunity for those voices to be heard at the current conference. I guess I wonder, because coming from the Australian context, we have very easy access to a lot of the medications that we need, particularly as people with hemophilia A. How do you find navigating the United States health system in terms of that?
So our system's kind of iconic for being a mess.
You said it.
Yeah, and I will say it, I've been able to work in the Florida State Legislature and in the U.S. House of Representatives, actually working on health policy. And what I found is that even people sometimes in these level of government, not only have they never heard of hemophilia, but sometimes they themselves are overwhelmed in trying to understand the snowball that is the U.S. health system. I think, unfortunately, my country has a very big, more reactive than proactive or preventative approach to medicine, despite the fact that we have so much research and we're, technically a wealthier country. I think there's also a large wealth inequality gap that a lot of people sometimes don't anticipate.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not just a matter of getting covered. Sometimes people do get covered, but once they're covered, they have to choose between can they pay their premium or their out-of-pocket costs, or should they pay their rent or their childcare, right? So no country's perfect. We all have our pros and cons to our systems, but I definitely will keep advocating at the state, national level, and in Puerto Rico as well, which is a territory of the U.S. because there's only one HTC there, and it's for pediatricians. So, there's struggles out there, but there's also work to be done.
Oh, and that's the case everywhere, isn't it?
Absolutely.
To different extents, of course, but as long as we have incredible people like yourself advocating and working at these things, hopefully we're going to move things in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been so great to be here in Congress. I've been here as part of the Susan Skinner Memorial Fund.
Oh, fantastic.
So not only was I able to learn from the sessions, but I've been able to meet an amazing group of women and girls who are doing so many amazing things in their own countries to try and lessen the gaps and speak up for women and bleeding disorders.
Isn't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I have so many ideas to go back home with and implement.
That's wonderful to hear. Can I ask, maybe, was there a particular standout session that you really enjoyed?
So I attended one where one of my cohort members, Ruby, was talking about mental health.
Yes.
It was awesome. Everyone on that panel was great, but especially stood out to me because we both have similar stories of delayed diagnosis, hemophilia A mild. For me, it was my brother who was the person that was in my family that we already knew about. For her, it was her father. So it just goes to show that our stories are all connected one way or another.
Yes.
But also, I think more and more we are starting to talk about in this community and in the general world about the importance of mental health.
Couldn't agree
And
more.
you know, whether it's a sibling of, diagnosed or not, or the whole family, everyone's impacted by bleeding disorders. And at the end of the day, when you take care of your physical health or your mental health, it helps your physical as well.
Yes.
And also being the child of immigrants, it's very easy for us, you know, sometimes culturally to overlook these things or not think that it's as pressing as the physical, but it really does go hand in hand.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It's wonderful to see. Personally, I find it wonderful to see how mental health is coming more to the forefront of how we're thinking about these conditions with a more holistic approach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you.
and sharing your story, and I hope you keep doing what you're doing, and
Thank you.
we get to see each other at some other conference.
Maybe in Chicago,
down the
you guys will
track.
be in the States, who knows?
We'll see.
Hoping for it. Hoping for it. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you.